In this episode, I'm sitting down with Melissa DiGianfilippo, the partner and president of PR at Serendipit Consulting, a full-service marketing, PR, digital, and creative firm that caters much of their work to the health and fitness niche. Melissa leads all of the firm's clients' public relations and communications, and in this episode, she's going to cover easy-to-implement strategies to get your business levels above your competition when it comes to PR.
If you own a gym, or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, everyone? It's Mike Arce. Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show and a return guest, Melissa DiGianfilippo of Serendipit Consulting. Melissa,
Hi.
welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
You ready to GSD?
I am so ready to GSD.
This is going to be great because you and I actually went to lunch.
Yep.
She's local. She's here. Well, local to me in Scottsdale. And so we got a chance to talk, and you had some really great stuff you were sharing, and I felt like I wanted to record that lunch and just share it with everybody, and I didn't get to. So not only are we going to talk a lot about what we talked about at lunch, which is press coverage and how small businesses can easily blow up when it comes to PR, things that they didn't even know what they could do, but then you've also given me a bunch of other stuff that you've added since that lunch. So let's get into the details when it comes to press coverage. And before we get into the best types of press coverage that these fitness studio owners and fitness professionals can do, let's talk about what it actually is first.
Yeah, so press coverage is so important for fitness brands and really any small business because it can truly elevate your brand without feeling like you paid for it. Like it feels really authentic.
Like it's not an ad.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And so when you have the opportunity to tell your story in like a really authentic way, which is done through a third party, like a reporter writing a story or a producer producing a news story on a local TV station, the reader automatically feels like you're important, like you're a big deal. So in the perfect mix of, digital marketing, traditional marketing, and then when you add PR in, the consumer really gets, this full circle picture of your brand. So I think PR, number one, is really important for that. Number two, for what you do for digital marketing, PR can just elevate the brand so much faster with all that natural content that, you can repurpose in so many other ways.
Well, and the thing is, and that's something we talk about all the time, we talk about YouTube ads and we talk about, retargeting ads. And then that's just one little piece that can make the regular ads for a free offer be more appealing because familiarity. It's like, oh, I've seen him on YouTube, or I've seen that fitness studio on YouTube, I've seen that fitness studio, in the paper. And so now here's an ad. That familiarity alone creates comfort. But if that familiarity can be tied to a story, something that emotionally triggered you, that's where that ad I want to jump on it way more.
It's way more powerful. I mean, it can go so much further. I've even seen brands take like a local TV spot and put money behind it on social media, and it blows up so much more than the moment that story ran. So I think like the why small businesses should really do PR is because it can do so much more than just the moment the story runs.
When you take some of the brands that are doing really great PR, the Orange Theory, the Soul Cycle, these brands don't even need to have a killer offer. They just need to have some sort of an offer, and immediately they blow up. They with pre-sales, they kill it.
I don't even think it's about the offer. And when it comes to PR for those brands at all, I think the minute you throw an offer in, it cheapens the brand.
Well, no, I mean in advertising.
Oh,
so in digital ads.
Oh yeah, they don't need
if I were to run an ad for a brand that's doing great PR versus if I'm doing an ad for a brand that has never done PR, the same city, the same service, everything could look the same. This company will get almost double the amount of leads that this one will, simply because the familiarity exists and there's some sort. I've seen them before. There's something I don't know. It's that whole phrase. I may not remember what you said, but I remember how you made me feel.
Totally.
Advertising makes you feel a certain way about a brand. You may not be able to remember the ad or the PR, but you definitely remember how you felt about it.
Well, and that's exactly what we did with Orange Theory here locally. So we took them, I think I talked about this in the first show, hopefully it's not repetitive, but we took Orange Theory in Arizona from one location to 26 now. And no one knew.
They're capped out, I think, too.
They're going to Tucson more, but yeah, they're capped out in Phoenix Metro. But no one knew them when they came. I mean, the first location, like, no one knew Orange Theory. It was just, I didn't have any friends doing it. No one. Yeah, totally. It was just another boutique fitness studio. We started a really solid PR campaign with just that one studio, and I'm telling you, it felt like, within 3 months, the whole community was talking about Orange Theory. And then their digital ads and their direct mailers and their events were more highly attended, more watched, more paid attention to. So
each one was easier than the last because it continues to compound. So in your experience, now that you've worked with brands in the fitness space quite a bit actually, what's the best type of press coverage these small businesses can get? As you can probably tell, Melissa's a beast when it comes to PR, and today she's giving away something really cool. Her very own guide, the top 6 things you need to know to get PR coverage today. Go to thegsdshow.com/E066 to grab your copy now. Again, that's thegsdshow.com/E066. Thanks, and back to the episode.
So I will never say that it's about there's one thing that's going to be better than the other. I think there's this perfect trifecta of press coverage that you can get. And it's really about a mixed medium, number one. So it's going to be TV, print, radio, digital. But the first thing is going to be a mix of your news. So the straight shooting stuff that's like, you opened a new studio, you are hiring these people, you have this new offer. That's your news. The second piece is going to be the people stuff. So who are the people that you're helping or you're impacting? Or how have you been helped or you've been impacted? The media loves human interest stories.
Right.
So that's number 2. And then number 3 is the trend story stuff. So what are you an expert source in that you can offer? What trends can you speak and comment on? So when you, in one campaign, have a mix of all 3 of those things, you have the perfect campaign, and you are going to see results from that press coverage, that campaign.
So it was trend, impact, and what was the first one?
So it was your news.
Your news.
And then it's people, human interest. So it's client
interest.
stories, your stories, and then it's going to be trend, expert source stuff.
So that people can visualize it, could you give me an example of each one? So give an example of your news, like a case study or something that you can say would be a great example. Same thing with human interest and same thing with trends.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm going to use Orange Theory for all of 3 of these. So the first one would be for your news. I mean, the 26th studio opening, right?
Okay.
The 400th member. That is your straight news. So when you put out a press release or a media pitch about that, it's pretty factual. That's newsworthy to the media, and that's important for the consumer because they know you're legit, right? The human interest piece. So let's say at Orange Theory a couple years ago, there was a kid who got his family to work out, and we told this amazing story about this family working out together to one local news station, and it totally blew up all over.
Okay.
That's a human interest piece. And then the trend story piece would be where a trainer comes on, let's say, and gives an example of the 5 things that you should eat before a workout.
Or like ketogenic diets, like real big right now, right?
So being an expert source. So when like a consumer, when I read the business side of a story, like they're legit, I hear the human side, I might have like, being pulled at the heartstrings, get tears in my eyes, feel compelled. And then I hear the trend story. Well, they're really experts. I'm going to take an action.
Got it. And guys, as far as, okay, now we know these things are worth pitching. If you go back and watch episode 17, the strategy to be able to get these stories picked up and get the opportunity to get on TV or in magazines or papers to talk about these things, it's all delivered in episode 17. So now you have these 2 things combined. I think that's great. I know you secured some of your clients some really big pieces of coverage in national magazines as well, like Entrepreneur, Inc., Forbes, stuff like that. So how does that work? And not only that, I mean, because they're national, who does these type of opportunities work really well for?
They can work well for any brand. Truly,
Okay.
like you could be a small mom and pop single owner business, and you could benefit dramatically from a story in Entrepreneur or contributed content in Inc. magazine.
Okay.
And the reason is, people again want experts. So if they see that their local gym owner was featured in Entrepreneur for some cool thing they're doing or is regularly contributing content, they feel like they belong to the best gym, right?
Okay.
So I think that's really important. We've secured a client, Kendra. She is a national speaker on storytelling, and which I'm really passionate about. You should get her on the show, by the way.
What's her name?
Kendra Hall. She's amazing.
Okay.
And we secured her a regular contributed series in Inc. magazine.
Really?
So she's contributing for 6 months, once a week, which is a big time commitment. However, it is the best traffic driver to a website. It's great for her to put the Inc. logo on her
Right.
website and say that she regularly contributes to this amazing publication. She's just writing about what she knows.
You know, and the thing is too, I want you to think about your members and what they say at home to justify that they have the best place to work out. I hear it all the time where a person would say, "Oh, I work out there. These guys are great. They do this, they do that, they do this." And what they'll do in order to build credibility for their choice is they'll drop things like that. "Oh yeah, the owner actually writes for Inc. magazine
Totally,
and
yeah.
this." And that makes her feel more confident in the place she chose because there's so many out there and their friends are doing different things. And that may actually be enough to be able to pull in some others.
It 100%
within there.
will, because your clients who are so proud to work out with you will share on their social media outlets that one article, and it will attract new people.
Right.
And I think aside from just contributing content, if you have a cool angle, which so many small business owners do, I mean, you may not think it's cool, but sit down with a PR person or sit down with like a friend and just ask them like, what's cool about me, and get them to pick your brain. You'll find you have a unique story to tell, or you're an expert in something you didn't even think you were. You may have a bigger story. Like we got a Entrepreneur magazine whole feature on just the Arizona regional developers for Orange Theory. Like they're not the creators of Orange Theory. They just are the developers of one region. We had a huge feature on them.
Okay, so let's go into that, because not everyone believes that, right? That okay, I don't know if people are going to care about that. Some people downplay the stuff that they're able to do. So how can you manufacture a great story out of something when a brand doesn't really have what they would consider real news going on?
Yeah.
So give me some examples, case studies that you've done.
Totally. So it's really about newsjacking, and I think I've talked about that a little bit before. I have one example. Again, I'm going to go to Orange Theory because this is about fitness, right? Do you remember that craze back in like 4 years ago about the Belfie?
The Belfie. I don't remember the Belfie.
So if you had to guess what a Belfie was, what would you think it would be?
A belt that makes you lose body fat around your waist.
No, actually, it's a selfie of your butt. Okay, so Kim Kardashian was really like the impetus behind this. So it was around the time frame she coined the phrase, I believe, the Belfie. So it was like nothing, and then all of a sudden it blew up over local news and national news. Everyone was talking about the Belfie. We thought at Serendipit, like, how can we get Orange Theory on this Belfie craze? Literally everyone's talking about it everywhere.
Okay.
So we pitched a story. Again, they didn't create the Belfie, the idea of it, but we pitched a story about how you can get your butt in Belfie shape.
Okay.
And Orange Theory went on local TV and did segments showing the best butt exercises.
Okay.
It, was huge.
And it was hashtag Belfie and all that.
Yeah, so we had, and then everyone's searching Belfie and Orange Theory is coming up. It works.
So I have a question, because here's what I know the audience is, most of the audience is going through. They're working. They're waking up early, they're working, they're staying up late, they're working, and a lot of them will say, I don't have time to watch a lot of TV. I don't have time to watch, listen to radio or follow a bunch of stuff on social media. I didn't even know what the Belfie was, and I feel like it's because I don't have enough time, or I don't spend enough time to look at all this. So with that said, if I wanted to be committed to finding out what trends are so that I can use it in my PR strategies, how can I quickly and easily catch trends, find trends, and be able to know what works for me?
Set up Google alerts. Like you can set up Google alerts.
Well,
for
tell me what
things.
Google alerts are. I know what they are, but for everybody
So
watching?
yeah, in Google, you can literally type in Google Alerts, and it will take you to a page where you set up phrases, keywords, brands that you can essentially just type in, like hit the brand, hit enter. You will get an automatic email every single time that brand or that phrase is mentioned. You can even like put Phoenix or San Diego next to it, so it's like local if it's important to you. And I think that's a great way for you to just start following the things that might be relevant to you and your brand. But then I promise you, you're wasting so much time on social media already. I get 100% of my news from social media. I do not have cable, and I'm a PR person. I don't subscribe to any newspapers. I read the news. I watch the news in my newsfeed.
Okay.
Taking 5 or 10 minutes a day when you're laying in bed before you crash.
So it's just really having a different eye.
Totally.
And here's the thing, guys, just so you know too, you're all in fitness. So when you look at food now versus before you were in the fitness game, you look at it differently now. Now when you look at it, you may do the numbers and say, wow, that's got like 120 calories, or it's got this much fat in it. Same thing with me with advertising. When I watch ads, I'm poisoned now. I can't watch ads.
Without critiquing.
No, I'm already thinking like, I like what they did there. I see how they did that. That was pretty cool. Same thing with podcasts. When I listen to a podcast, it's hard because I'm wanting to get the content, but I'm also like, I really like the way he asked that question. I like the delivery. And so I think what needs to happen, not just for you guys, but for me as well, because if we want to catch these trends, we need to look at social media with that different eye. Like, okay,
not just for as a consumer consuming the news, but think about it like, is this story, is there some angle here that I could play off of, that my business could play off of? Is it big enough? Can I turn it into something else? I mean, there are a lot of opportunities for you to do that. You don't want to stretch too far. Like, you want to just be smart, and it needs to be relevant, because if you're going to spend time pitching the media, going on TV, doing a TV segment, I mean, it better be worth it. You're busy.
Right, okay. So many of the brands I work with love the idea of press coverage. The only problem is they're afraid to actually do it, get behind the camera or do the interview, especially with a live shot. It's not like we can cut and do this again. So how can they prepare for these opportunities and kind of take that fear away?
So I think the number one most important thing to remember is that you as the business owner are the expert source. So often I see this fear in people, of this fear of sharing their story, of putting themselves out there, of the fact that maybe they don't have this content that maybe other fitness studios would want to consume. You need to remember, like, who are you really producing this content for? Is it other fitness studio owners, or is it your possible customers?
Right.
So if you can remember who you're truly producing content for, and then you can have the confidence to think, I am truly the #1 expert on this topic. There's nothing I can say that's wrong at all. Like, I got this. Get in your own head and be excited and enthused and confident about the fact that you are truly the expert source. You will nail every single interview, and you'll feel really good about the content you're producing. And you don't have to be concerned about the fact that another fitness studio owner may watch or read your content and be like, oh, I could have done that better, because they're never going to do that. They, #1, aren't doing this. They're not putting themselves out there. They're afraid, and they're not your customer, so it doesn't really matter.
And the thing is too, I think a lot of people, they say, oh, you're afraid. I still get afraid to go up on stage and speak. Even though I've done it, tons of times already, I still get afraid. The difference, and this is actually, I'm stealing this quote from Mike Tyson's trainer. Back, he did this in the 80s. Mike Tyson was afraid to get in the ring. And he said, you know what the difference is between a hero and a coward? He goes, nothing. They both feel fear. They're both afraid. The difference is what they're going to do about it. And so I think that's the same thing. Don't think that just because you got all these butterflies and don't think
that you can't do it.
Don't think the guy crushing it doesn't have those butterflies. They're just going, like what you said, I got the confidence, I'm going to power through this. At the end of the day, on a one-on-one setting, when your customers, your members come up and ask you that same question that this reporter's about to ask you in a live shot, do you answer that question correctly? Do you answer that question with confidence? You know the answer already.
Exactly, and that's a great point. So when you are doing those interviews and putting yourself out there, don't think of it like this is any bigger of a deal than if you're talking to a customer. Actually, talking to a customer is a bigger deal, right? Because they're paying you money to be a member of your gym or to be coached by you or
These
whatever
people,
they
it's
do.
free content.
Yeah, and so you should feel all the confidence in the world when you go on TV or you give a phone interview or go on video, whatever you're doing, that you truly are the expert and that you are going to deliver this amazing piece of content. There's a couple other things you can do, I mean, really to get media trained essentially. That would be practice, like in the mirror, in front of your friends, set up a video camera, videotape yourself, watch it back, as heart-wrenching and hard as that is.
And it will be.
It will be, and you'll hate your voice, you'll hate how you look, you'll hate how you moved. You need to do it. You will be so confident when the time comes for you to be on TV or to be recorded. And then it's also practice your key messages.
Right.
I think a lot of brands, do a TV segment and it's just about the 5 tips to do X, Y, Z, and they forget that they're supposed to be promoting something, right? Like, it's about their gym, it's about them, it's about their book, whatever it may be. Nail those key messages so that you're confident that no matter what question you're asked on TV or in an interview, you can slip those in there. Because why else are you doing this?
Give me an example of how I can slip something in. So let's say the question being asked was something like, one of the questions is, so what are your thoughts on fruit? And can you have too much fruit, or is it all good for you because it's not the refined sugars? What are your thoughts?
So I would say here at Orange Theory Fitness, we really focus hard on training you to understand, all that goes into your body.
That's it. Already you did it.
Yeah.
You
and
slipped
so
it in.
You have to be smart about how you get the brand name in without being too salesy and without being awkward.
And that this is information your members get regularly.
The same thing can be done. I want to flip it to a question that you're not comfortable with, that maybe has nothing to do with the interview you thought you were giving. You can so easily turn it on its head and flip it, and you can answer whatever question you want to answer. Like, the reporter truly won't care.
Right.
Just say what you want.
Now, with these strategies, and I know because I've seen it with others, I've seen it with myself, when you do this right, leads really do start pouring in.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. But as the business owner, what do you do to prepare for that? Because you don't just sit back and wait, do you?
No, and I think a lot of people will hire a PR firm or will do it themselves and expect one TV segment or one interview to get them a ton of leads. The actual power of a PR win is not in the moment the story runs. It's how well, we kind of hit on it earlier, how well can you repurpose, reshare, remarket that one amazing story to the right people? Because unfortunately, with a lot of people cutting cable today, or regular TV, they may not see that Fox 10 morning news segment at 9 a.m. But if you can re-deliver that clip to them on Facebook, a short clip on Instagram leading back to your website, kind of revisit it as a throwback
Write
a couple
a blog
weeks later.
about it with
Write
the
a
same
blog,
topic and embed the video.
Email it to them in your email newsletter. Number one, you're showing you're an expert, and number two, they are getting that content, and it's the right people,
Okay. So two questions here. One of them I want to ask you particularly as a business owner, because to take it back, guys, and I want you to pay attention to this, because all of you guys are either where Melissa is, where Melissa's going to be, or where Melissa was. So I met you when you had really kind of just not started your agency, but right before you hit that tipping point of like blowing up.
Yes.
What would you say was probably the biggest contributor of you going from business owner that was kind of stuck in a rut for a while, felt like you weren't growing, to holy shit, every month we're blowing up, every month we're getting more employees, every month we're getting more customers, we need to scale this.
Yes.
So what was the, and I'm sure there's a few, but what would you say is the major thing that took you from the stuck in the rut to the moving forward almost every month?
Totally. Okay, well, I have two things. So the first is going to be entrepreneur organization. I have to throw the plug in there because EO when I met you, I was an accelerator, and then Alexis and I, who's my business partner, joined EO, which is kind of the next step about a year later.
Right.
And what I learned in accelerator and then in EO, and just the confidence I got that like I was doing this right, propelled us so fast, so far. I mean, we literally went from just under $1 million a year to over $3 million a year.
And when you say doing this right, what are some of the things outside of like running the agency? I mean, like, how did you learn to run the business? Because PR, you knew. You went to
I know the tactic, but I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to manage people.
Same thing with these fitness people, right? They understand the fitness game. They know how to get people in shape and how to motivate them. But scaling a business is a whole new skill set.
Totally. So, I mean, managing people was one of the biggest things I took from my initial, joining of EO. I went to all the talks. I consumed all the content I could because I was 26 when I started Serendipit.
Okay.
I had been managed by 2 people,
Okay.
maybe. So I needed that lesson. So since then, I have started doing Scaling Up, which is I think you do it too.
Yep.
It's a book and a program by Vern Harnish.
It's basically like the 2.0 version of Rockefeller Habits.
Totally.
Right?
And we have a coach for it. We're on quarter 3, and it's about a 2-year program initially. It has totally elevated us. Like, EO is here, Scaling Up is here.
So constant education on the business side is a big part of your success.
Yeah, and personal, like learning how to deal with all these changes, the ups and downs, like keeping your emotions at bay when you had a stressful day, or like today, earlier before I got here, I'm like on a high. I got like a bunch of new clients, I got all these amazing media wins. Like learning to control your emotions, the personal stuff is important too.
So hanging around the right people, coaches, mentorships, books.
Yes.
You read a lot?
Podcasts, books. I mean, I enjoy learning every day. I don't always have the time. So, I use apps like Blinkist,
Blinkist?
It's like takes books and condenses them quickly. So you just get all the key info. It's kind of amazing.
Put that on the screen.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, like I run a business. I know everyone has their own story. I consume info, in quick ways usually, but I love learning, yes.
Okay, so here's a big question, because obviously there's strategies, and with online, I mean, between what I learned in this episode, your last episode, online, I could probably figure out how to do some of this stuff right? What are the advantages of hiring a PR person, whether it's in-house or a PR agency to run it for you, versus doing it yourself? I mean, when should you do one or the other?
So I think when you're a startup, sometimes the cost is pretty prohibitive to hire an agency. So if you have the time, which a lot of times you'll make time, when you're an entrepreneur in the beginning phases, you work 23 hours a day, it feels like. You can spend the time. You can do a lot of the traditional PR methods. I hate to break it to you. Any PR people watching are going to kill me. But you don't need like expensive media databases to find media. Literally, all you have to do is Google.
And watch this episode and the last one.
Yes. And so you do that. You find media contacts, you pitch it. You can do it yourself. It's going to take you a hell of a long time, and you're going to be stressed out, and it's going to be heartbreaking.
Well, because you're not working on your business now.
Totally, yeah. So it's not always the smartest thing. But if you get to the point where you see what press coverage can do for you, and you realize you want to work in your business, it might make sense to hire a PR agency or bring someone. It's not going to make sense for you to have a salaried person in-house full-time. I'll tell you that right now. Just they're not going to have the ability and know-how to like get you constant coverage at a price you can afford. An agency could cost you between $3,000, average retainer, to $5,000 or $6,000 a month, depending on if you're local, you're national, where you are. Right. If you're a franchise, you have lots of locations, it can go up from there. But it really depends on how much energy and time you have to put into doing this for yourself.
As a business owner, you either have resources or you have to be resourceful.
Yes.
One of those two have to happen. And sometimes in the very beginning, you don't have the resources, meaning the funds to do it or the connections to make sure that this is the one you should even hire. So you got to be resourceful. You got to start doing this stuff on your own. But as soon as you have the resources, pay for done.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that the most successful people do.
If you can write a check for it, it's not a problem, right?
Right.
Like,
push the fast forward button. Pay for a fast forward button.
Yep.
Coach, when I hire a coach, I'm not hiring like a person to talk with me.
No.
I'm hiring for a fast forward button. It's like, you've done this? So if you had to start where I'm at right now, would you be able to get to where I want to get to faster than me? Of course you do, because you know exactly how to get there. You know the plays already. I'm paying for the playbook. I'm paying for a fast forward button. When I hire a PR agency, when I hire a web design company, you could design your own website.
Sure, it would be shitty, but you could do it.
But I could also pay for a fast forward button, get that out of my life, and then move on to something that can actually make me money in a much better way. Because the thing is, I think too many people worried about saving money.
Totally.
And
and they're not thinking about all the things they're missing out
Right,
on.
making money. Because when we grow up with that, unfortunately, we have a lot of people saying, as we're growing up, oh, you got to plan for a rainy day.
Yes.
What if it doesn't work?
Save your money. You never know.
Save your money.
Cash,
you never know.
Cash is king, right? Yeah, I
It
agree.
takes so
I
much
think
energy.
it is so powerful to be able to afford to just say, I want to hire you to do this for me, and I'm going to track the results, and if it works, I'm going to keep doing it. Like, if you have the ability to do that, I say do it all day long.
Right.
The cool thing about PR is you don't always need a sustained, like 12-month, every year, year-over-year campaign. You can do it in seasonal phases, and
Okay.
it's still really effective. Like, we do 90-day sprints for a lot of our clients. Who just like, if summer's going to slow down, we want to go into summer really strong. We, we'll pitch for
New
90 days.
locations about
Yeah,
to open.
totally. So
new
I
service,
would
new
never
brand.
recommend a single location, hire a PR person for $4,000 a month for a year. Do 3 to 6 month campaigns for sure.
Cool. All right, so Melissa, there's a reason I brought you on twice.
Okay.
I brought you on twice because I feel like every time I sit down with you, there's just more things I didn't know about PR, and your team really has their stuff together. How many employees do you have now?
28, and we have 6 on our PR team, and we are just killing it right now.
Yeah,
We're having
you
so
are.
much fun.
So what I would like to do is, I would like to let people, number one, know how they can get a hold of you, okay? And then also, if let's say they can't afford to hire you right now, share where they can learn more from you. Like, do you have a blog that
Yes.
you run or email, newsletter, stuff like that?
All of the above. So go to serendipitconsulting.com
Put that on the screen.
or call me, 602-283-5209. But the website has all the information you need. We're redoing it, so hopefully by the time you see it, it'll be brand new. But there's a blog button at the top. I think it's called The Modern Buzz, is what we name our blog. And we constantly have tips, tricks, and then subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get lots of just information before you could find it anywhere else. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Guys, this was a strategy episode. There's going to be people that watch this episode and have plans to put stuff in place. And there's going to be people in this episode that watch this episode that have the plans and actually start executing. What I've noticed, maybe 10 or 15% will actually execute. Don't be the 85%. Go
Get it
out
done.
there and get shit
GSD.
done. Let's do it. All right, guys, thanks. We will see you next week.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.